So my sermon topic today is walking in alignment with God. And first, I just want to establish a truth to start off, which is God has a plan for you, and God has a plan for your life. And I just want to go into some verses. So Psalm 139, 13 to 16 says, "You made all the delicate inner parts of my body. You knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous, how well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed." And I just think the language of you've knit me in my mother's womb. You've, in a sense, you've designed me purposefully with intent before I was even you designed me these things when I was being made in my mom's womb, before you've planned it out for me. And I just think just the amount of intentionality, the words that he's saying, you've woven, you've knit, is just, it takes a lot of time and intentionality to do those things. If you're to make a sweater and knit a sweater, it's going to take a lot of time. My patience for knitting is not that great. I try to do it, and then all of a sudden I'm just okay, this is not fun. But it takes a lot of time and intentionality. And so then Ephesians 1, verses 3 to 4, "All praise to God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who has blessed us with every spiritual blessing in the heavenly realms because we are united with Christ. Even before he made the world, God loved us and chose us in Christ to be holy and without fault in his eyes." So before he even made the world, he designed us to be with him. And he already knew that there was going to be the fall, and that he was going to redeem us through Christ, so that when we come to him and give our lives to him, he can make us holy and to be with him. So he has a plan for us, and before the world was made, he already knew what was going to happen. He's designed you in the way he's designed you with intentionality, and he's instilled things into you for the plan that he has for your life, before the world even was made. And then Romans 8, 28 to 30. "And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. For God knew his people in advance, and he chose them to become like his son, so that his son would be the firstborn among many brothers and sisters. And having chosen them, he called them to come to him. And having called them, he gave them the right standing with himself. And having given them right standing, he gave them his glory." So I just wanted to just paint just a lot of just some verses about how God has a plan for us. He's intentional with how he's created us. He's put things inside of us for the plan for our lives on purpose. I also want to add that it also is in seed form. He doesn't necessarily just plant a tree inside of you with the thing. He actually plants in seed form to grow it in you, to be able to go with him in that and grow the gifts that he has given you and the way that he's made you. So I guess just for an example, for Nomi, who's my fiance, which is pretty sick, she is, I just love how she worships. And because worship is more than just being able to play or sing or whatever, but worship actually has there's anointing in it and intimacy with God. And the gift that God has given Nomi with worship did not start out like that. It started out in seed form, where she had to grow it, even though it was already planted inside of her. She needed to find it, grow it, and grow it with God. And okay. That was actually a lot longer than I was actually going to go for this part, but anyways. So God has a plan for you. He's designed you with things inside of you to grow you. And so then this is where my questions get raised, is, okay, what is God's plan for my life? And how do I know that I'm following it? And how do I know even how to follow it? And then also, when we receive prophetic words, what do we do with that? Because prophetic words are kind of keys into seeing into what God has for you. But okay, what do we do with it when somebody's just saying some crazy stuff? But so I just want to start off also going to, so God's plan. Now going to where this sermon is kind of based out of, which is Luke 10, 38 to 42, which is where Jesus comes into the town, and then Mary and Martha meet him, and then he comes into their house because they invite him. And yeah, so I'll start out with that. So as Jesus and the disciples continued on their way to Jerusalem, do you guys want, I'll actually give you a sec. Do you guys want to pull out the verse? It's Luke 10, verses 38 to 42. I'll just give you some time before I just start ripping through verses again. But yeah. So Luke 10, 38 to 42. Okay. So as Jesus, and my version is NLT. As Jesus and the disciples continued on their way to Jerusalem, they came to a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed them into her home. Her sister Mary sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he taught, but Martha was distracted by the big dinner she was preparing. She came to Jesus and said, "Lord, doesn't it seem unfair to you that my sister just sits here while I do all the work? Tell her to come and help me." But the Lord said to her, "Dear Martha, you are worried and upset over all these details. There's only one thing worth being concerned about. Mary has discovered it, and it will not be taken away from her." And where this kind of teaching just kind of came out of is this one of these, like one week, God was just speaking to me a lot about like soaking. Because when I would spend time with God, a lot of times I just would read the Bible or journal, but I feel like God was just speaking to me, okay, I actually want you just to soak. Because when I read the Bible, sometimes it kind of would just feel kind of hard to just, I'm just like, okay, I don't know what I'm reading at all and what this is really doing. But I feel like in that week, God was just telling me to soak. And then he kind of gave me this verse to kind of go into it. So I was like, oh, yeah. So I was just basically just like, when I got that verse, I read it, I was like, oh, of course, I'm supposed to just sit at Jesus' feet, right? And then I actually asked one of my mentors about this verse and kind of was just wondering, okay, am I actually hitting the truth with this, that, like with what God is saying? And there was some truth to it, for sure, that like, okay, we just need to come and just soak with God. But the way that he explained it actually made it way more impactful. And yeah, so yeah, I just want to go through it again. So Jesus came to Mary and Martha. Instantly, Martha was like, okay, we need some food for these people. So she started to create a meal. And instantly, Mary was like, okay, I just want to sit at Jesus' feet and be present with him, listening to what he was teaching. And then, obviously, Martha got upset that Mary seemed like she was just doing nothing while she was making the big meal. Just like if I were just to be sitting on my butt while Noe's making a big meal, she probably wouldn't be the most happy. Not that that happens, but yeah. So yeah, she got upset with her, and then when she came to Jesus and started saying, "Hey, like what is she doing? Like, can you just tell her to come and help me? Like, this is ridiculous." Jesus actually said, "Well, she's actually discovered a thing that you're supposed to be discovering, and you have not." So that must have been pretty like, "Oh, what? Okay." So what we can take away from this is that we're not just supposed to only sit at Jesus' feet. Because Mary wasn't constantly just sitting at Jesus' feet all the time, every day. She actually did other things in Jesus' ministry. Like, she was actually doing other things. It wasn't just that. But the key thing that we can take away from this is that Mary found out, okay, what is Jesus wanting to do in this moment with me? And what is he wanting to do, like, right now? While Martha, okay, saw the people coming in, and just instantly was looking, okay, we need to do this. So she kind of took what she thought we needed to do. So she started making a dinner. While Mary instantly went to, okay, what is Jesus wanting to do? And the difference is that Mary found out what Jesus was wanting to do in that moment, while Martha was creating a big meal that Jesus never asked for. In the same way that we can be in our lives and also in ministry too, and see things, okay, we need to do this. But unless we actually like look to what Jesus wanted to do, there can be a big difference. Because with this, Martha saw that we needed the big meal and was looking for what she thought needed to happen, but Mary was looking for what Jesus was wanting to do. And I just wanted to stress that point that, yeah, we need to be looking towards what Jesus wanted to do and ask him, okay, God, what do you want to do in this moment? And to do that. And to not just try to just Like, it's not bad to just like, okay, we need to do this, because actually the things that Martha was doing wasn't bad at all. And even possibly like when Jesus wanted just to sit at her feet and then maybe make the big meal afterwards. But the things that Martha was not doing, the things that Martha was doing was not necessarily bad, just like the way that if we start doing things in ministry or doing things in our lives that we think we need to be doing, is not actually bad things that we can be doing. It's just not necessarily in alignment with what Jesus is wanting to do right now. Yeah. So with me, when God was just speaking to me about soaking, when he was speaking to me about soaking, I soaked. And I definitely could have done it more than what I did, to be honest, and still times I will. But nevertheless, the point is the same, that we need to be staying in line with what God is wanting to do with us now. We need to be looking to what God is telling us to do instead of looking back and maybe what he's told us to do in the past. And I want to just kind of share my heart on that too, more so just so it's clear that I'm not saying everything that God has said in the past is invalid. It's like, no. It's just we need to be focused on, okay, what is God telling us to do right now? And if God tells us to look back at what he said, then we need to look back at what he said. Yeah. Yeah, so we need to be spending time, taking time to listen, okay, Jesus, what are you wanting to do this moment? And then to take the action to, okay, let's go do it. Yeah. And also, I also want to just kind of paint the picture too, like, because, okay, I'm about to get married, and it's going to be awesome. But if I take the time to listen to what Naomi's wanting to do, or what she needs, like, was wanting to do with me, that she said like a month ago, like I'm going to be missing the point what she's wanting to do like every day. And yeah, and it's just like relationship with Jesus is an everyday thing, not a once in a week, once in a month thing. It's like we need to be listening to what Jesus wants to do with us every day. And there's new things that he wants to do with us every day. Just like when I have like an agenda that I want to do, like the things I want to do in a day, Naomi has the things that she wants to do in a day, we actually need to come together and talk about it. Because sometimes I'll be trying to just do the things I want to do. She'll just be trying to do things she wants to do. And then we kind of just get it like, hey, what is going on? Like, it just doesn't work. Like, we need to come together. Okay, these are the things I want to do. These things you want to do. Let's try to plan out how we're going to do this. And just the same way we need to be coming to God. Okay, this is what I wanted to do. And Jesus will be, and listen to him, what he's wanting to do with us. Yeah, and I also want to make another point. Which is 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18. Always be joyful, never stop praying. Be thankful in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you who belong to Christ Jesus. And I'm kind of talking about basically a part of, okay, we need to be just listening to what God's wanting to do and then do it with him. And in the time that our like secret place with God is what I'm kind of focusing on. But also, I want to just make a point real quick that we also need to be talking to God throughout our day all the time. We need to be praying without ceasing. So we need to be just talking to him. And when we're at work, when we're at other things, we need to be just being in communion with him, talking to him all the time. Yeah, so that's just one point I want to make. And I also want to just show that, okay, alone time with God is something that's very special. And we need to be prioritizing that. We need to be prioritizing spending time with God every single day for just a certain amount of time, whatever it is for you. But to have a place that's a secret place with God, because out of that place is where we learn what to do. So in a sense, how we figure out what God's wanting to do with us today, God speaks to us through that. And God speaks to us, and it's not all the time he speaks to us through the secret place, but majority of the time, he'll speak to you when you're spending time with him, specifically in that time. And yeah, so the secret place is the birthing place of intimacy with God. So we need to be spending time with him alone, listening to what he is wanting to do and the revelations that he's giving us, and to just be spending time with him. And so what are things that you can do in the secret place? I just wrote just kind of a list, and reading the Bible is one. And I think, so reading the Bible is like so important. We need to be reading the Bible. Because reading the Bible is how we understand like who God is. We learn his characteristics. We learn what his voice sounds like. So yeah, reading the Bible, we really need to be reading the Bible. And then worshiping, soaking, journaling, and you can go like on a walk in nature, and you can be just listening. And yeah. So we need to be spending time with God. It's really important, and making it a priority to be listening to what He's wanting to do with us in that moment. So when we follow His guidance, so when we listen to what He's wanting to do with us now, He gives us the strength to do it. And when we focus on the things God is telling us to do, He just gives us the strength to do it. Instead, when we do things that we think we need to do, like Martha did, we do it out of our own strength. And this is where we find burnout. We keep doing the things that, okay, we need to do this, and make this huge list of things we need to do when we haven't actually looked up to Jesus to go, well, Jesus, what are you wanting to do? Because then we start just doing them out of our own strength instead of the God giving us the strength to do it. Yeah. And then, so we need to learn how to hear God's voice, because if we're going to be listening to what He's wanting to do, we kind of need to know what His voice is. And and the Bible is how we do that too. Is we learn the characteristics of Him and how He sounds like, how He speaks to us, the truths of what He's saying, and just getting into that. It gives us helps us filter out through, okay, what we're hearing, is this from God or is this not? And and just being soaked in the Bible enables us to respond instinctively when we make decisions. So in a sense, like, if there's certain things that are happening, whether this is a right decision or a bad decision, like, the Bible can help us when we're soaked in it. We can help us just to see it through a lens of like, okay, actually this is right and this is wrong. And here's the point why I really believe that the church is like super important and valuable, because this is a safe place to test this out, like to learn how to hear God's voice. Because you have people who've like gone through like the experience of learning how to hear God's voice, who maybe are a bit further in their walk in faith and can help build you up to guide you in like, okay, this is actually what God's saying, and then maybe this is maybe not what He's saying, and to be able to point you in the right direction. And just like, I feel so honored also when I have like, my dad or different people who just start pouring into me and actually just start growing me. And it just helps build me up in hearing God's voice and just being able to have just a real intimate relationship with God. Yeah. Okay. And God is growing and refining us. God uses scenarios and situations to help us grow. I think, and it's learning how to discern the moment of like, okay, there's a situation that's happening. It's like, this is not, I don't understand what is going on. We need to be looking up to, God, what are you trying to do in this situation? And I believe that like all the time God is trying to grow you, but maybe just especially in hard moments or hard things, instead of just being upset and just kind of getting annoyed by like what is going on, which is totally valid emotions, but to be looking up to God, what are you trying to do in this situation? Yeah, and the verse that I have for here is James 1, verses 2-4. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. So when troubles of any kind, hard things, consider it an opportunity to actually be joyful about it. Crazy. Wow. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. Now, wow, that is just a powerful verse. Yeah. And it just shows us that like there's times that God is actually testing us and creating space for us to grow and to grow our trust in Him and endurance in that, and to be able to receive more faith from Him. And it's just opportunities to be able to like discern, okay, God, what are you trying to do in this moment? The same way that Mary and Martha were discerning, okay, what is God doing? Or Mary was like, okay, this is what Jesus wanted doing. This is what He's wanting to do. And Martha was kind of missing it. Like, those opportunities are great times to learn how to do that. Because you're like, hey, God, what are you trying to do in this moment? Why am I in this situation? Why is this so difficult? And what importance does this have to do with anything? Yeah, so we just need to be learning how to discern the moments. Okay, when is God trying to grow us and refine us, and then to let Him do it? And I started off this by talking about how God has a plan for us. And I just want to just bring into, okay, yeah, that is the truth. God has a plan for us. And I want to kind of go into, okay, so God has a plan for us. We need to learn how to discern him, to spend time with him. And we need to, just letting him grow us and refine us. And then we also need to learn how, we need to just be able to step into the calling at his timing. And just for example, I know that God has a plan for my life in ministry, just because of prophetic words and things that God has spoken to me about. But what I need to be doing is just to be growing my relationship with God, spending time with him, learning about the Bible, studying things. But what I want to get into is I need to be not trying to step into that calling before the time is ready. In a sense, I need to be stepping into that calling when God's timing is ready. And I was going to a verse about that. So 1 Peter 5:6. So humble yourselves under the mighty power of God. At the right time, he will lift you up in honor. So we have this plan for us that we're starting to understand, okay, God, this is your plan for my life. You've created me with these things. You've created desires in my heart to do. But I need to be humbling myself to you to let you lift me up and not trying to take, in a sense, a place that I'm not supposed to take yet. Or to be, honestly, just to let him just bring you into the place that he's supposed to bring you, and not just trying to take it. And what we can look to do is David. David is a perfect example of that, because David was anointed by, I'm forgetting the prophet's name. Is it Samuel? Yeah. Was anointed by Samuel when he was quite young, and then it was 15 or 16 years later before he even became king, when versus Saul was anointed and then instantly became king. But David, so he's anointed then a good chunk of time before he became king. And God, and David experienced a ton of moments with God that some were very hard, and he embraced the moments to learn and to grow and mature. So God took time to grow him before he put him in the place that he was supposed to put him. So he was anointed, okay, this is the plan that God has for David, but then he took the time to grow him before he placed him in the place he was supposed to go, instead of this way that Saul was anointed and then instantly put into place. And there's more to that, but I'm not going to get into that as much. But anyways, my point is that David was anointed. It was a good chunk of time where God was growing him, testing him, and building him up to then be able to be in the place that he's supposed to be. And just the same way that God is going to take us. So if God has a plan for us, we understand, okay, what kind of things are going on. And God is going to take the time to be able to grow you, to stretch you, to put you through maybe different things to build you up for the plan that he has for your life. And we need to be learning just to that kind of thing of where we need to be learning to being in his time and humbling ourselves to him, to let him do it, to let him raise us up, just the same way that David actually had a moment where he could have killed Saul, where Saul was in the hands of him in the cave, where he could have been okay, this is my plan that God anointed me for. Here is my moment to take it and literally kill Saul and just take the throne, but he didn't. And he discerned, okay, no, this is actually not the right thing to do. And then because he let God put him in the place he's supposed to put him, he understood this is God's plan for my life, but I'm going to let God do it, not myself. Yeah. So with what I'm just kind of speaking about today is walking in line with God and this relationship that we need to have with him, where we come to him, we listen to what he is wanting us to do, and to just be spending time with him, and then letting him grow us, letting him refine us, and then letting him put us into the places that he wants to put us. So letting him put us in the plan that he has for our lives. And I want to just go into a part of, just this intimate place of spending time with him. And yeah, my next point is basically we need to be living fully surrendered lives and repentant lives to God. In Matthew 16:24, verse 7 says, "Then Jesus said to his disciples, 'If any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way. Take up your cross and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your soul? For the Son of Man will come in his angels in glory and of his Father, and will judge all people according to their deeds.'" So we need to give our lives to God. And I think just when God was just speaking to me about this, like, he's just showing me that, okay, there's actually some times where, okay, we've given our lives to God, now we're living as Christians, and we might actually still hold on to little things that are like kind of no big deals. Like, oh, okay, well, it's not that big of a deal to do this, like whatever. And we kind of hold on to maybe just little things. But what I also want to express is that like little no big deals, like, and I'm more so referring to like sin, like no big deal things that we kind of cling on to because we have an old way of life. We get born again into the new way of life that God is sanctifying us and purifying us. And it's a process of being in a relationship with him, letting him do it. But sometimes we can hold on to things where we don't necessarily give it to God. And I just want to express that, like, no big deals are what put Jesus on the cross. In a sense, all sin separates us from God, no matter the size of it. Like, all sin separates us from God, and we need to be giving him all of it. We need to be giving our full life to God. And I feel like when God was just speaking to me about the give up your life, and I feel like I never really understood that verse like fully. I'm like, I give up my life, like, okay, what are you talking about? But I feel like God was just showing me, okay, giving up my life is, okay, this old way that I want to think, the way that I want to, like, my human nature, like giving him everything to let him purify me and to undo me. Like, I need to be doing that, and we need to be giving him everything. So giving up our whole life to him to let him like purify us, and then that's where we gain. Instead of holding on to little things maybe that we want to hold on to or we're not yet like to give up. And it's okay to not necessarily be there yet, but what I want to say is, like, we need to be giving him our whole life. And yeah, so all sin separates us from God. We need to give it to him, let him purify us, wash us clean, and sanctify us. God loves us so much that he wants to change us and to help us heal and become healthier. And this is not a come, and it's never been a come to God when you are free. It's come to God with your things, your broken, sinful, everything, because he is what sets you free. He's what undoes you, what changes you to actually be free from things. And yeah, because I feel like there's sometimes a tendency, okay, I've maybe done this, and I don't know if I can come to God. Like, I just don't feel like I should come to God because I feel bad. But God is actually saying, no, come to me with everything, because he's the one actually that changes that thing in you. And God is not going to just do something in your life. Like, God is a God that respects your choice. He will let you choose. Like, in a sense, he's not going to come and just take over the parts that you haven't let him take over. So in a sense, there has to be an invitation that we give him. Okay, God, I give you dominion over this, and then God will work in that. And God is a respectful God that he's not just going to just come and just try to grab it and take it and whatever. And that's why we need to have this response. Okay, God, I give you everything, because then he can just work on these things instead of trying to do it by ourselves. Because when we try to do it by ourselves, we'll fail. And yeah, and the one song, you know the song, The Battle Belongs to You? Where it's like, I'll fight on my knees. I basically, in a sense, it sings about how, like, God, the battle belongs to you. Oh, I can't remember the words right now. Oh, what is going on? But anyways, I just feel like that song was just really huge. So I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, like, actually these battles that I'm facing, maybe these things that I'm struggling with, or these things I'm just going through, like, and just trying to learn how to trust in God and everything, like, in a sense, battles that happen in our lives, they're actually his battles, and they're not for us to fight. Because I feel like I would be trying to fight like battles with like kind of with God. Okay, God, here's my battle. All right, I'm with you. But actually, no, it's actually God's battle. Give it to Him. Let Him take it. It's actually not yours. Like actually give it to Him, in a sense. Like let Him just do it. Like okay, this is yours, not mine anymore. Let's go. Yeah. So, yeah, God just wants us to give Him everything. And this is a really big ask, I think. Like, being fully surrendered to God is actually a really big thing to do. And it's not necessarily just super easy all the time. And I want to just, like, understand that. Like, that sometimes it's a little scary to be like, hey, God, I just give you everything, and I just fully surrender my life. Like, that is a bit of a scary thing to do. But I want to just express that it is necessary for us to do. That our lives, like His plan for us, is better than what we can do. And He's died, like Jesus died on the cross to give us freedom, so that when we're holding on to things, like God is wanting to give us freedom from those things and to give us freedom from that. And that's what Jesus, like He died for us to forgive us, but also to give us freedom. And when we do that, so we spend time with Him, we give Him everything, we can then just be in alignment with what His plan for our lives. And yeah. And all of this also, like spending time with Him, learning how to discern what His voice is, being able to just surrender your life to Him and to give Him everything. Like, this is a process, and like it's not like a switch that you all of a sudden, okay, we're not doing it, okay, now we turn it on and now we're doing it. Like, even for me, like I'm learning how to spend time with God, to come into a place, to grow my intimacy with Him, to learn His voice, to learn to discern what He's wanting to do with me, how He's growing me, when is He placing me into the place He wants to place me, what is He doing in the situations, and then being able to give Him my whole life and everything that I have in it. And it's a process that takes time and is not necessarily easy all the time. And that's also why we have the church too, is to help us grow in that, to grow in this, walking in line with God, with each other. Yeah. So I kind of already did a summary, but yeah, in summary, God has planned for our life. That is good. We need to discern and learn when and what God is wanting to do with us. And when we do, He gives us strength to do it. We need to learn what His voice is and what His guidance is like. We need to be spending time with Him, growing in intimacy, because out of that place is where we receive revelation of what He's wanting to do. And then we need to let Him grow us and refine us. We need to trust in what He's doing, the plan and the timing for us, and that we need to humble ourselves before Him to let Him raise us up. And then we also just need to be living a fully surrendered and repentant life, giving Him everything. And just out of me speaking today, if there's anything that I want you to take away from this, is that we absolutely need a relationship with God. We need to be having a secret place with God, because like just coming to church every Sunday, like honestly is not enough. Like you need to be spending time with God alone, having an intimate relationship with Him, and need to be just growing with Him and giving Him your life. Yeah. So, yeah, how I just want to end this out and land it is, could I ask everybody just to stand up real quick? And I'm not going to ask you to come up or anything, but I just want to ask you just to either just hold out your hands, or if this is resonating with you, just respond and receive. And to just hold your hands and just receive, this. Yeah, and then I'm just going to just pray. So God, I just thank You that You are a loving God, that You have a plan for us that is good, and that You love us. I thank You that You are gracious with us, and You take time with us to grow us, to allow us to learn how to spend time with You. You help us just to learn how to have an intimate relationship with You, to be able to follow Your guidance and to listen to Your voice, God. And Lord, I ask You just today to help us just grow in that, to help us to grow in learning how to discern, okay, God, what are you wanting to do with me today? In the things of growing us and in the things of even just spending time with you. God, what are you wanting to do with us today? And how are you wanting to spend time with us today? Yeah, Lord, I just pray for us just to be able to learn how to let him just refine us and to use situations that maybe were difficult or challenging to grow things in us for the plan that you have for us. And yeah, Lord, I also ask that you just help us just to learn how to surrender our lives. Even just how do we even do that? Lord, I pray that you just help us just to learn how to do that, to be able to give you the things that we need to be giving to you, to be surrendering the things that we need to be surrendering, and to not hold on to things in our lives and to actually just give it to you.